Hi everybody. Okay, we're moving on to part 2, okay, of the McCall's 7690. Okay, so part 2. So part 2, what we're going to cover is, I'm just looking down at my notes. We're going to stay stitch the back waistline. We're going to do the back darts. We're going to sew the crotch curve, and then we're going to reinforce the crotch curve. And then we're going to finish the raw edge of the crotch curve, okay? And you can finish it either with a zigzag or your serge. Techniques, I'm going to put it on the website, and I will reference it in the SewAlong itself. So for example, we're working on a pair of pants that has a fly front. So when we get to that portion in the SewAlong, I'll do a little bit of it, you know, in instructions in the SewAlong itself, but then I'm going to refer you over to the website to go ahead and look at that video, that particular video, look it over, you know, study it, do your own sample if you want, because, you know, I'm big on that technique binder. So go ahead and, you know, and do that. And then once you get a good hang of what that technique is, then come back onto the SewAlong itself and do that particular technique with the SewAlong. So that way, we both kind of benefit. You still get the instruction of the actual SewAlong, step by step of how to do a particular thing. But it's less editing on my part because, like I said, I'll mention it in the SewAlong itself, but then I'll refer you over to the website to actually find that particular technique and go ahead, review it, look at it. And then once you master it or enough to where even SewAlong, you know, at the same time and install it in that particular SewAlong that you're doing at that time. So hopefully that will be okay for you, because I think it's a win-win for when you go over to the website, there's a nominal fee for the technique, because what I did was I searched the internet, I searched books, I searched everything in order to find the easiest, most convenient method, easiest to learn, and fastest method in order to do a technique. And I only showed you one technique. So what I did was, you know, kind of meshed things that I found from here, there, that I thought, oh, that works good, that works good, that didn't work, and kind of just put it all together and meshed it into, you know, my technique, which could be a combination of 2 or 3 different techniques, 2, 3, or 4 techniques all in one. So what you're getting is basically my research. Give the example of an invisible zipper. If you look for an invisible zipper online, you'll probably find 4 different ways to do an invisible zipper. Really. And even honestly, the same instructor, you know, I find would do, and it could be just learning, you know, they did it one time in, you know, when they were first learning, and then as they progressed, they did another way, right? So, but on their website, they'll have 2 different ways of how they did an invisible zipper. So what I did was look at all of, you know, all the different techniques, the people that I like to go to, and meshed it together and said, this is the best way in order to do that particular technique. And then I give instructions. So not only do you get the video, but you get written instructions on how to do that particular technique. But again, it's because of the time that I took to research it and to actually research it and film it. And, you know, meshing it down to get that one particular way to do something. And then actually the written instructions. So that's why each one of the techniques that I have on the website is between 2 and 3, depending on what it is. And some of them are free as well. Just wanted to let you guys know that up front, that it is a nominal fee, but it is well worth it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let you know that we're not following the directions exactly. What you need is your back pieces. Should have cut 2, and you should have already made your markings for your darts here. What we're going to do is stay stitch the waistline. I'm going to start from the side seam all the way over to the crotch curve or center front. Okay, so from the side seam to crotch curve, stay stitching is done at a 2.0 stitch length, and I do it at 1/4 of an inch from the raw edge. So from the raw edge in 1/4 inch. Okay, so go ahead and do that and come back. Stay stitching has been done. Let me find it. Oh, cut it. Here is the stay stitching. Now complete your darts. And your darts right here. You can kind of see my line is kind of faded. The line. Okay, so what you want to do is stick a pin at that dart point, and then these are your dart legs, and you want to make sure that the pin comes from one end of your legs to come out the other end at the same spot. If it doesn't, you're going to have to readjust it. I usually put snips at the top here, and that helps me with the top portion. Just line those up, and usually at that point the legs at that point usually match, and then I do the end at the dart point, which is right here, and then I'll do a couple in the middle. Go ahead and pin your darts, and this is what they should look like once you finish pinning them. Now remember, when you are sewing darts, you start at the top and you sew down to the point and you sew off, okay? You don't back stitch. You can back stitch at the top, but don't back stitch at the point. You just sew off and then you're gonna tie it off, okay? Go ahead and do your darts and come back. Dart should look something like this. Okay. All right, so now we're going to move on to the crotch curve. So you want to put right sides together, matching the back curve here. So this is my right side. I know because I have an X for my wrong side there. So I'm going to put right sides together. Right sides together here, and then we will be matching up the crotch curve. Okay, get it all in here. And that's the curve. So this is the top right here, and this is your curve, crotch curve. All right, so you're going to match this up. There's a notch here. See it. I always, now remember this is commercial pattern, so the commercial pattern is 5/8 of an inch, right? But I like a little extra room, you know, to play with. So I always do my seams at a 1/2 inch, and then if I need to take in more, I can take in more, and it's just easier to cut that part off or serge it off versus having to unpick it to go the opposite way. So I always start less than the 5/8, so I always start at a 1/2 inch, and then that way that just gives me a little bit more in the tush area as well. So go ahead and sew or pin it first, okay? And then you want to sew this crotch curve, and then what you want to do is sew right on top of that previous stitch. This is called reinforcing it, and we're reinforcing this because this is a high stress points because of the buttocks, okay? So we want to make sure that none of those stitches pop. So go ahead and sew it, and then sew over top your original stitches to reinforce it, and then you want to finish the raw edge. Okay, finish that raw edge however you want to finish it. So if you want to zigzag it, I will be serging. Early reminder, you have to make sure to do your ironing, okay? Just not to save time here, but make sure after every seam you do, you iron, okay? That's part of basics. My basics, free basics video. Okay, so to recap what we did, we sewed the crotch curve, okay? We sewed it, we reinforced it, that stitch by going directly over it, and then we finished that crotch curve, okay? So now we have a back and the front completed at the crotch curve. Basically, the front is done with the fly, right? Okay. Next, what we're going to do is prep for the side pockets, okay? So go ahead and get your pockets. You should have 4, okay? Your pattern piece only had 1 pattern piece, but to make my life easier, what I do is just make a copy of that so I can lay out everything at one time. And that's just how I do it. So you should have 2. So what I want you to do is finish the raw edges, especially if your fabric frays, okay? So you're going to finish just around the curve. Here we go, around the curve here. So starting here, go around this curve to here, okay? You don't have to finish that. So just around the curve. For each one, go ahead and either zigzag it or serge it, okay? And come back. The sides are nicely done and prepped for the install of the side seam pockets, okay? Should have 4 all together. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment, okay? That's how I know that you guys are liking the content. So please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when new videos are being posted, and comment, okay? All right, everybody, have a good evening. Bye. Thanks for watching.